Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very exciting video for you. I'm very excited. I already said that. Like, subscribe, comment, all of those things. Today we're going to be going over the case of Paige Birgfeld, and it is fascinating. It has to do with true crime and MLM things. But before we get into that, make sure you are following me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all over all social media. I am at CCsuarez. Did you know that I started a new podcast? Did ya? Did you know that? It's called Down a Rabbit Hole with CCsuarez. I am far too excited. Absolutely way too excited for it. The first episode is already out, and there will be a part 2 to that episode next week. Very exciting. So make sure you follow that. It'll all be linked down below in my link tree. I've already updated that, so you can listen on Spotify, Apple. I upload the episodes to YouTube as well. It has like its own little playlist on my channel. There's not a separate channel for it. There is a separate Instagram for it, just because I wanted to be able to do like trivia and like have all that separated. But yeah, you can listen to it wherever you listen to your podcast, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. I think those are actually the only places you can listen to it. Anyways, I'm very excited for this video, but before we get into that, let's talk about today's sponsor, shall we? Do you know who it is? Any guesses? I know who it is. It's Scentbird. I'm so excited about it. I'm excited about everything today, clearly. I love Scentbird. Y'all know they have been a sponsor of my channel for like 6 months now, I think. They are awesome. I have tried and fallen in love with so many new, not only fragrance brands, but fragrances in general, because of Scentbird. Otherwise, I'm a creature of habit when it comes to like the products I love, my OG holy grail products, and that includes fragrances as well. I have a new favorite because of Scentbird, and I actually just purchased the full bottle of it, which is very rare for me to do. I've only done that one other time that I was so obsessed with it. I was like, I have to have a full bottle of this. If you are living under a rock and just don't know, Scentbird is a subscription fragrance service where you have access to over 600 fragrance brands. Did you even know that there's 600 fragrance brands out there? Me neither. I had no idea. Now, this is a flexible subscription service that you can skip a month if you do choose. Also, if you are just overwhelmed and you don't know which fragrances to pick, you can go ahead and take their quiz on their website, which is very easy. So within the matter of a few clicks, you will be matched with the perfect fragrance for you. But you can choose the fragrances. They do have men's fragrances, women's fragrances as well, and that's for only $16 a month. And they do carry top brands like Versace, Prada, Gucci, all those, and more independent or lesser known brands as well that are just as wonderful. And you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, is this like a fake scent, or do they actually, are these the real luxury brands? They are. Scentbird has curated and nurtured these relationships with these brands, and these fragrances are 100% authentic, and that is a guarantee. So this way you're actually able to test out different fragrances without committing to buying a full expensive bottle every month, especially these more luxury brands and more luxury fragrances. They are a little bit more expensive. So it's nice that you're able to get, either 2 or 3 of these little guys every month, or you can skip a month, like I said, don't worry, for only $16 a month, and you're not having to pay a ridiculous amount for it. And it's not like it's a sample size, because it's this big. Look how big that is. That is a 30-day supply, bigger than a sample size. Has quite a bit in there. I personally like to go ahead and travel with these. My favorite one that they sent me this time was the Acqua di Parma Peonia? Nebule? It's so fancy I can't even pronounce it, but it smells so freaking good. And I just purchased a big size of it, and I'm really excited because it smells so freaking good. And yes, I've already sprayed it 7 times on me today, but I'm going to do it again. Then also they sent me Prada Candy, which smells absolutely delicious. I know so many people that this is their ride or die, their OG, their holy grail perfume. And then also got the Align perfume from Good Habit, which is very fresh. And it's always good to have the ones that smell like very fresh, and then the ones that smell very like fancy and musky. And this one is more of a like freshy, not floral, but like kind of floral smell. That's real good. But yes, this one smells very fresh, and like I want to put it on right after I got out of the shower. And you can use the code Suarez55, that is Suarez, Suarez, my last name, if you are new here, Suarez55 for 55% off. That? I know, it's crazy. When they emailed me that, I was like, guys, are you sure? But yes, they are sure, 55% off. And that is for your first month of Scentbird. That's crazy. That's amazing. So feel free to get it for yourself just in time for Valentine's Day if you'd like to start off the new year smelling fresh and different and changing it up. New year, new scent, new me. It's February. Are we still allowed to say new year, new me? I think so. I can do whatever I want. Also, Scentbird is available in the US and Canada. Again, Suarez55, Suarez55 for 55% off of your first order with Scentbird. That's only $7. That's crazy. And a really good deal. So get yourself, what? So get yourself smelling delicious like someone's expensive wife, or like you're constantly clean and you just belong in a meadow full of peonies. I don't know what you want to smell like, but if you use Scentbird, you're going to be smelling fresh and delicious and fancy. Oh my God. So if you need me, I will be drowning myself in this. Oh God, I just sprayed it inside my ear. I'll be drowning myself in this beautiful, I need my I should pour this on my bed. I need my entire house to smell like this. It's so good. But while you watch this video, I will be dousing myself in this delicious perfume while I wait for my full-size bottle to get here. Again, Suarez 55 for 55% off. That will be linked down below. It'll be on the screen and it'll be in my pinned comment as well. Back to the video. All right, guys, so I'm super excited about this video. I really wanted to be able to talk about, in a lot of true crime cases, in some, let me correct myself, in some true crime cases, there are an aspect of an MLM, and I really want to focus on MLM affecting, the case, the person's life, would they have been in that situation if the MLM wasn't such a huge part of their life? We are going to talk about that, but before I get into that, I feel like I need some help on this video, so I'm going to go ahead and call a friend of mine. Hey girl, do you have time to help me with a video?
Oh, Chelsea.
Awesome, you understood the assignment. Let's go.
Okay.
Oh, we are ready. Wait, what are you drinking?
Hard seltzer. It's like one of those 100 cals, and it's pineapple mango.
I didn't know we were doing all that. I just have water.
Oh, Chelsea.
What the hell? Okay. I have to go work out today anyways, so.
Yeah, you have to work out.
Yay, round of applause for Sherilyn Dale. Yay! So thanks for coming. Thanks for helping me with this. I appreciate you so much. Actually I didn't really know a lot about this case. And then we talked and you were like, let's do this one. And I was like, oh, sweet. Okay.
This one, I think, is like totally captures what you talk about in terms of people feeling like they have to keep up with a life that might not be what they're projecting, I suppose. Is that the word for it?
It's insane. It's a double life. And I personally like to, pull back the curtain. That's me pulling back the curtain, and the lifestyle, the rewards, the money, and all this. And then it turns out that a lot of the time it's fake, or just some big facade, or maybe they're twisting the truth just a little bit, or phrasing something a certain way to make it seem like something that it's not, which is very frustrating. I already said it in the intro, but we are talking about
Paige Birgfeld today.
Yay! I'm excited. It's a horrific story. It's really, I was surprised with how long the case went on.
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah.
I think that was part of it because people who knew her didn't know. So there was like this whole pool of suspects that they couldn't assist like in an investigation with, where sometimes you have that, like in most cases when it's like the husband, right? Like it wasn't like that.
It wasn't either of her husbands.
It wasn't. No.
Yeah. Sherilyn, would you mind giving us a synopsis of what happened to our girl Paige?
We're gonna just like start with a brief description of who Paige was. So she was living in Grand Junction, Colorado. She was a mother of 3 and had just recently divorced her second husband. The lowdown with the second husband is that he had quite a bit of money. And that's, of course, we don't have people's financial bank statements, but that was the perception that they gave off to friends and family. And so they lived like a really, I guess, lavish lifestyle. I wouldn't say like the impression that I got of her was that she was like overly like bougie or flaunted a lot. Like a lot of people who knew her said that she was very humble, kind, but they had really nice house, nice cars, all that type of stuff. On June 28th, 2007, one day Paige just vanished, which was not like her. She was a very devoted mother. She'd never leave her kids, so instantly her parents knew something was going on.
And it seems like her dad was really involved. Like, it seems like she was close with her dad, but it seems like from what I was reading that her dad was pretty, I don't want to say involved with the case, but everything I was reading, it seems like he was pretty involved with it. And obviously, I mean, that's his daughter. But one thing that I was reading is that she started dating her first husband again. From like friend interviews and things, it seemed like she was just so like happy and excited that they were getting back together. And that just, I love that so much.
I know, that was one of my favorite parts of the story too. Like, it just kind of seemed, I don't know, you kind of always like wonder about those situations, right? Like, I actually have a friend whose parents were once together when they were little, obviously, Charlene. And then they separated and he went on and had relationships. She remarried for a brief time. And then when the kids like grew up, they got back together and they were like so in love and so happy and they're like kids again. And they're just at different times of their life than they were when it couldn't work. So it sounds like that kind of could have been the situation for Paige and Rob. It's just so sad.
Yeah, it is really, really sad. And I think it's interesting that she still was able to like manage this double life that we're going to talk about, even though she, you know, had her ex-husband and her new boyfriend slash first ex-husband. And then also like her dad and her, you know, friends and stuff that she was close with. So I just thought it was very interesting that like you can still essentially get away with like having this fake life without letting people in and letting them know. But also that's kind of what MLMs teach you, is that you have to show, you know, this aspect of it. And with the MLM that she was in, which was Pampered Chef, it's more of like home parties. And with those, and this is before like social media was like really poppin'. Like, think about it. I mean, Instagram came and was like, everyone started having it, I want to say like 2011. And this was like 2008, right? So that one really, Pampered Chef is really like an in-home party type of thing. But if you're having like in-home parties, who are you having these parties for? Like, you're the people you're recruiting and that you're taking advantage of, knowingly or unknowingly, like your family members and like your friends and all that. So if she would have let the guard down and been like, oh, hey, I'm actually not making a lot of money and I'm doing this other thing on the side, I mean, she would have made absolutely no money with the MLM because she would have been exposed herself, which is really sad.
It is. And yeah, that's what happened. So she would host these events at her house, and I've seen video footage of it that, it looks really cute. Like, the idea of it, she's a perfect example to me of some of the people that I hear you talk about, where it's like you do want that camaraderie, and she was going through a tough time in her life and you want that friendship. And then, like you've said before, is like so many of these MLMs present themselves as like your family. We've got you, like, don't worry. But like the second you're not giving them what they need, you're essentially useless to them. And so just imagine what was going on in her mind to once be hosting these things with the nice house that they had, and then when her husband and her separate, everything is on her shoulders. She's got to raise these children, she's got to keep this like house afloat, and it's not affordable for her. And then starts this, someone must have said, oh, like, I make money doing this, you can make money doing this, you know. And she's like, cool, like, let's do it. And
so how come her husband wasn't helping with, like, why was it all on her? Did he lose all of his money?
Essentially, yes. So that's the word on the street is, after they separated, he claimed bankruptcy.
Convenient.
Yeah. So that's why she kind of really felt like everything was on her shoulders. She also tried to start a dance studio. She loved dancing, so she wanted to have like a little ballet studio for kids.
Love that.
Starting any business is tough. So starting one, like when you're already going through a new chapter, it wasn't providing the income that she needed. So then enter the MLM. Again, it's safe to assume, we can't assume what was going on in her mind, but it was also not providing the financial freedom that she was being told it would. And so what Paige ended up doing was she secretly started a escort service.
Yes. I have her little advertisement here from naughtynightlife.com, dedicated to making your nightlife even naughtier is their tagline. So seems like a good time. Oh, we'll definitely have to blur those. Those are titties. So we definitely can't show that. But yeah, I didn't even notice you can see full nipples on that. Sorry about
full
that.
Nips.
Sorry about that.
It did what it needed her to do, which is why she stayed doing that, because her profile got so popular. She couldn't keep up with it, but so she would make other profiles and like be on calls pretending she was other people to try to like prolong dates so that she could kind of like space them out. So like she was doing really, really well with it, but it opens you up to a whole pool of dangers.
It's weird that it says like travel within Colorado and neighboring states by charter jet only. Like baby girl's being flown out. But then the entire thing's weird, honestly. But it's weird that like it says that. So it's like, oh, like you expensive. But then it says tired of chopped meat showing up when you ordered filet mignon. She's really doing it. So I don't know. It's just when I was watching stuff and how like everything was, I guess, portrayed was that it wasn't like a super high class area. And I don't know. It's like they made it seem like a shitty area, and it was like a redneck area, but yet she has a wealthy husband who's now ex-husband who's sketchy, and then like escorting and being hopping on PJs and getting out of here to go do whatever for money. Get it, girl?
Yeah. And again, like that's a really good point and might make sense as to why like what happened to her, because when Paige went missing, her car was found. It was on fire. When the police went to go investigate, her remains weren't there. It was just the car, but it was in a good enough condition that they were able to go through her diary or her like day planner, and there were 4 pages that were ripped out of it. So they're like, okay, somebody didn't want some sort of meeting to be known about. And that's how they started wondering, okay, like who was she meeting? And then it was about, I think it was a few months after that, they found remains, contents of her purse and wallet along the highway. And it was there that they found a business card for this. What was it? What was it called? Why is it coming off you just had it, the website?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want to log into naughtynightlife.com?
So that was what it was for. And then that's when like the whole veil was lifted and the secret life was exposed of her that nobody knew. I think it was like only one of her best friends or maybe 2 that knew what was going on, but her family certainly didn't, nor did like the people like in her side businesses. And then the people that she was meeting with, and we kind of learned about some of these men, like I'd be upset if I was the filet mignon showing up like to these guys because like they were sketchy.
Yeah, it's like you're ordering a filet mignon, but you're wearing like a man wearing jorts to a steakhouse. That's not okay.
That's totally what it was like. Like, yeah, that was the clientele that she was bringing in.
Not ones that would be chartering a private jet to get her out of the state.
No, I don't know. It just makes you wonder like how vulnerable she obviously was and desperate at that time, to keep doing it when it wasn't clearly the clientele that she was wanting.
And also keep in mind as well, another whole layer in sex work is real work. If there was, that legislation in place to where like it could be safer essentially, then yes, like it's the oldest occupation in history. So if you weren't having to sneak around and things like that, it would obviously be a lot safer and regulated and just, I am going to repeat myself 40 more times, safer.
No, I actually speak a lot about that on my channel. My mom, and she's worked with sex workers for a large part of her life, thrown events to, spoil and pamper them on long weekends and just show them like how loved and valued they are. And because the work that they're in isn't safe, and unfortunately we have a stigma in our world where, law enforcement doesn't really do much sometimes like for like for me personally that we've experienced, like with them on the streets, like trying to help them in just like a safer capacity, so that they know that they're loved, because they do get scared to like go out for help. And we just want them to know, you know, like there are great people out there. There are great law enforcement out there too that will help you. So if we can break this stigma where you're judged, like you're saying, there'll be a safer outlet for them.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
It needs to progress a lot faster, but she was clearly feeling to keep this all on the low and not tell anybody where she was going. You know, nowadays, like even just with online dating, we're like, hey, like I'm going to meet this guy. This is his profile. This is his license plate. This is everything. She didn't have anybody that she could do that to.
Yeah, exactly. And but it makes me so sad, because it makes me think of, you know, just how alone she felt in not only the MLM aspect of it and not being able to be truthful about that, but then because of not making money from that, then having to not be, you know, truthful about the sex work she was doing to try to, you know, keep up with her life. And a lot of people would have probably just given up, but it really seems like Paige would not take failure as an option. She was going to take care of them babies. But unfortunately, it costed her life, which is horrible.
I know that that is gutting, you know, like that she was just like, okay, like this is where we're gonna go. I mean, I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it too, where dangerous it could be, like for you portraying that as the MLM doing it, right? Like that, like the lifestyle is becoming like this because, like I have this lifestyle because of the MLM, and it isn't really. And then it opens up more people to believe that and get sucked in. You know, I'm sure that that's exactly how she got sucked in, because somebody portrayed this bougie lifestyle and she was probably feeling like a failure, like, okay, well, why can't I do it? This is what I have to do to make it look like I am successful. And I'm not letting anybody down, because I want these people to still come and show me family and friendship.
Yeah, no, and obviously this is all our own opinion, all speculation, but
yes.
A lot of the times that's what can happen. And it is really, really sad. And there's a lot of instances where I know for a fact that does happen. You know, they'll rent cars and take, you know, photo shoots with luxury cars so that they can post them all over their social media. That's what iGenius are doing right now. The WFAB girls, like mainly the Canada ones. It's so crazy that they're doing that. And it's honestly really embarrassing, but it gets other people, you know, wanting to join, because they're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could have that car. Like, oh, well, you know, they're making this much money. But also, I mean, even, you know, renting like a Lamborghini for one day, that's like $1,000 a day. So, I mean, I've looked into it. I was going to do it once for Tony's birthday. I was going to rent him a Lamborghini. But, and then I was like, you know, Chelsea, that's probably not the smartest financial decision. And I was like, plus I can't really like make a video out of it. Like how... I'm not Jake Paul, like, or the Ace family. Like, what am I going to do? Post a video? Like, I bought my husband but I got my husband a Lambo for his birthday. That's not it. So, and even, I mean, bringing that up, YouTubers as well, right? You know, there's that stigma of, oh, well, if I, you know, just show like my like mundane, you know, boring life, like people aren't going to watch it. And, you know, I got all these views on, you know, showing all these purses or all this crazy car, doing this crazy stunt. Now I have to one up myself so that people don't get bored, you know, trying to do more and more and more just to like take care of yourself or get money, or really is a vicious cycle. And it can really, really, really mess with your head. Creators like us, you know, experience like emotional, not only like mental burnout, because obviously this job isn't very physical, but like mental and emotional burnout. Like before we even started filming, I was like, I'm so stressed. So I think it's a vicious cycle, and it really does suck when there's the money aspect of it, but also the like emotional manipulation, the faith manipulation, and all those other things that go into it. And there's other people involved, because like with YouTube, you know, it's just, you know, typically you in a room, or, you know, you doing it, right? You know, no one else is really making money off of you, unless, you know, you're part of Team 10 and you're terrified of Jake Paul. But with an MLM, you have an upline, you have a downline. Like you're keeping up the facade for those people and to get more people into it yourself. And so I think that's really something that's super dangerous. And then the other aspect that we do agree that, you know, it's pretty dangerous. You're hiding so many things, and you can only be positive. And a lot of times you don't have friends outside of it, because you're always around the people who are in it. And those are your only friends. So you can't show them like, hey, my life is crumbling and it's horrible. And, you know, I don't have any money. My husband, like, we got divorced. He's bankrupt. He's not helping me. Or my husband's abusive. Not saying hers was, but referring to another case. Or my husband's cheating on me, like another one. When you can't talk about those things, it's easier for you to not acknowledge it and to kind of shove it back and pretend like it's not even happening. And then not seek help for it as well. So I think that's really interesting. And I think that if think about it, if she went to her dad, of course, hey, I'm the last person to ask for help financially from anyone. I won't even ask Tony for like $20. I will never ask anyone for money ever. In that instance, if she would have asked her dad for money, like, that sweet man would have helped her.
Doesn't he melt your heart when you see him?
I love him so, like, can he adopt us? But
yeah,
he's
like just the sweetest
kills
little
me.
Nugget.
Yes.
Nugget.
He would have done anything to help her. And even the first husband, I feel like would have done anything to help her too. But speculation, I think that maybe she was like, okay, I don't want to like drag him into anything. Like, we're just getting back, I don't want to scare him off. So I can understand that.
Yeah, I can too. Exactly. Yeah, you're just kind of like, okay, this is just like a means to an end. Like, it's very temporary. It's not even going to matter, like in a couple months or whatever, right? This guy, Lester, so it ended up taking years to figure out who did this.
Well, even to find the body.
Yeah, so that was actually kind of what it was they already had their sights on him.
Mm-hmm.
They were able to trace him back to like a burner phone, and him making a call to her twice that evening that she disappeared when he was at a Walmart. So they already had their sights set on him, but it was essentially like no body, no crime, and they couldn't find her. It ended up taking 9 years to actually solve this case. So even though police had an idea of who he was, unfortunately, her remains were found so that her family and friends could have closure to what had happened to her. But in finding her remains, it meant that she was dead. Mm-hmm. And now with this evidence, they were able to arrest and convict Lester. I mean, I'm not going to say the rhyme, but, Lester, the... like, why? Don't
Molester.
Name your guy. Don't name people Lester.
There's so many pieces in place where like, okay, it was clearly him, right? Even without the body. But again, no body, no crime. However, there have been quite a few convictions in the US without a body. So with the whole, no body, no crime aspect of it, I always find that fascinating because imagine how frustrating, again, not to fangirl at his dad or like say again how like we just think he's the sweetest, but he is. Just imagine how frustrating, even not just this case, but with any other case, imagine how frustrating it would be to have all this evidence laid out, to basically know who it is, but there's no body. Actually, what would you think would be more frustrating? Do you think that having all of this, but having no body, so there's no crime, which the point I was about to make is that there have been a large handful, like at least 20 to 25 convictions with no body in the US. I'll have that linked down below. But do you think that that would be more frustrating? Or do you think the situation with the Delphi murders would be more frustrating, where you have a video of the person, you do have bodies, you do have evidence, you have the killer, like their voice on camera? What do you think would be like more frustrating?
Probably that, like with the Delphi murders, I haven't even like been able to dive as deep as I want to in that because I'm frustrated with it. I guess in that sense, it's like you already have your answer. You already know that they're not here. And similar to Paige, there's always that element of maybe she's somewhere, like maybe someone has her, maybe it isn't him. We don't know if there was no, DNA linking him without anything that was like concrete. So, I mean, both situations are just gut wrenching and they're different, right? Because in terms of having a body, you have that closure. You're not up at night wondering where your baby is, right? Yeah. That I think is has to be one of the worst feelings, probably the worst feeling in the entire world. Like how do you go on without knowing where your child is. Whereas, you know, here the answer is you know where they are, but the person responsible isn't being punished. It's just, the whole thing is just awful.
I would definitely agree. So everything that they had against him, which this is infuriating to me too. So the car was the burning car was allegedly across the street from like a business that he owned.
He was working at an RV lot, and the car was found directly across the street from it. Or he made the last 2 phone calls to her that night. They were able to track the burner phones. Also, he was 6'4", I believe. And when they found her car, the seat was pushed all the way back. So they knew it was not her. I think she was only 5'4". So it was like a whole like foot taller than her.
They had him on camera though too, buying the burner phone. And there was something that he said to one of the cops that was really freaking weird. I can't remember where I saw it, but he said something to one of the deputies that was like, "You want me to tell you where to hide a body?" And the deputy was like, "No, buddy, I'm just trying to have you come in for a few questions." Like, what are you saying? Like, it was like they were having 2 completely different conversations. And from what I had seen, they were like, yeah, he's real off. Like,
some people are just genuinely like weird vibes out there, but like they were pretty sure, even with the other people that they had also like felt uncomfortable about, like that she was seeing, and they were just like, oh, one of her clients, the most like red flags there. And when they charged him after they found her body, his first trial actually went into a hung jury, and so they had to retry the case. And a lot of it was because 3 of the jurors were deadlocked because they didn't agree or feel comfortable with her lifestyle. And it's like, stop.
We're not asking. Well, that's great, Tracy.
No one cares.
We're not asking you to agree with the lifestyle. We're asking for all of you to agree if he murdered her.
Yeah. Drives me crazy. It's like when you hear stuff like that in terms of like jurors' opinions, like you're not there to have an opinion. You're there to comb through the evidence and decide if somebody's guilty, and whether somebody's line of work doesn't line up with your values or not is irrelevant, you know? So, that upset me.
What else? I mean, actually, do we have to cover anything else about him, or I mean, is that it?
No, that's pretty much it. In the end, he did finally go to jail. So before they even went to go to a second trial, he decided to just confess and you know, like took ownership for what he did. He never gave like a reason or a motive or anything like that, or described like how he did it, but he did admit that he was the killer. So the very least, I guess, like, good on you that you can be in jail now for what you've done.
Good on you that you admitted it, but also you killed someone. She should have been making more money, but it seems like, you know, she was trying so many other things. And it even seems like the dance studio, from a few things that I read, that someone was saying like the dance studio was more of like a front for the escort business, which is not great.
I mean, I guess for both, right? Like, but from what I've heard about, the dance business, it wasn't able to sustain itself either. So I guess there's that added pressure also, right? Because she sounds like the type of person who just did, like you've said, did not want to let anybody down, especially herself and her kids, right? And wasn't going to ask for anything. And when you're in those situations, you just try to make it work. Do whatever you can to make it work, right?
The moral of this story is give this positive feedback so that I can have Sherilyn on my channel again. But also, more so than that, please don't, coming from 2 people who are like, I'm going to figure it out on my own and never ask for help. Please ask for help. Yes. It's very brave to ask for help. I know it can be uncomfortable. One time that I did ask for help actually was my mom asked me if I needed help, and I said, yeah, and I started crying, and then she sent me to rehab. So if I wouldn't have, this is when I was like 15, if I wouldn't have done that, I would not be on this planet in this dimension right now. So, yeah, right. Cheers.
Yes.
So definitely ask for help. There's no shame in that. And please understand that what people post on social media is not real. You want to know how much garbage is under my desk in my trash can? It's overflowing with energy drinks. I'm wearing yoga pants. This is a facade. I haven't washed my hair in 3 days. This is a facade.
I'm in my sweats as well.
Exactly. What you see out of this frame, this is all a facade, okay? Not the personality, just, not everything's perfect. Look at my fat thyroid. It's not perfect. It's okay. So please know how valuable you are. You are amazing. And I am so happy that Sherilyn could come onto my channel today. And you are so valuable. And I thank you so much for being on my channel and for being so spicy and for having a feather lamp behind you.
I love that bad boy.
I know, I do too. It looks like you're just ready to go dust stuff.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited that you wanted me here. And like you said, if, let us know if you like this, because we got more to talk about, maybe.
Yeah, we can't shut up. So there are...
Neither of us can.
So yes, please let us know if you did like this. If you didn't, just keep that to yourself. Our fragile hearts can't take it. And there are other cases involving MLMs that we would love to cover as well and talk about. And we hope you have a great rest of your day. And remember to stay spicy. And I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.
Bye.